Having been born in Sri Lanka, raised in Qatar, and now living in Australia, I've observed that Islamic history is ubiquitous in all these places. From the musical call to prayer echoing through the streets of Doha, to the stunningly beautiful mosques of Sri Lanka, and the Islamic Indonesian traders who liaised with indigenous Australian communities for centuries. Islam has followed me wherever I've lived. Sri Lanka has a long and storied history of Islam. It is one of the oldest organized religions on the island, and likely arrived with ancient Arab merchants from modern-day North Africa, Yemen, Oman, and possibly the Levant, who settled in Sri Lanka as early as the 7th century. Subsequently, Islam thrived throughout the islands of ancient Ceylon, attracting communities practicing the religion to its shores to settle even further. Whilst many Muslims in Sri Lanka follow Sunni Islam, Sri Lankan Islam, like many things on these islands, is extremely diverse, with Shafi, Hanafi, and Sufi schools as well as Shia communities being present all across the islands of Sri Lanka. Several communities in Sri Lanka practice Islam as a religion, including the Moors, the Malays, the Memons, Bohras, and Khojas, amongst others. It is important to note that these communities are ethnically and culturally and linguistically distinct communities, though they share the common religion of Islam. And I am, of course, generalizing, as there are always exceptions amongst these community members in terms of the religion that they follow. A unique observation amongst many communities that adhere to Islam in Sri Lanka is that nearly all of these communities freely settled on the islands of Sri Lanka, rather than being colonial or occupying communities. People from Colombo will be familiar with the mesmerizing, candy-colored Jamiul Lafar Mosque on Cross Street, or the resolute Grand Mosque of Colombo, built half a millennium ago. Then there is the compact and beautiful Miran Jumma Mosque within the Galle Fort, and the turquoised facade of the Al Awliya Mosque of Batticaloa. There is also the absolutely stunning looking Kechimalai Mosque. The Kechimalai Mosque is quite fascinating because it was likely built in the year 1024 in Beruwala, and to me the palm-flanked images of this mosque are absolutely iconic. The town of Beruwala itself is likely named after Abu Barkat al-Barbari, a Somali scholar who established an Islamic settlement. Now, I occasionally hear conversations in Sri Lanka about Islam and Islamic cultures as though the religion of Islam is new or somehow novel in Sri Lanka. And this next point is going to be very important in dispelling the myth of the novelty of Islam in Sri Lanka. The history of Sri Lanka is so rich, diverse, and ancient that it's difficult to identify the oldest mosque in our country. But by general consensus, it appears that the Masjid ul Abrar, built in the year 920 AD, might be the oldest mosque in Sri Lanka. This signifies the presence of Islam in Sri Lanka for at least 1,100 years. That's over a millennium. Islam in Sri Lanka is ancient. It's as much a part of Sri Lanka's culture as any other organized religion on the island. Now, Islam has integrated into Sri Lankan society in so many ways, including the confluence of religions that make the pilgrimage to Katharagama and Adam's Peak. Is Islamic significance associated with the top of the peak? There are public holidays such as Eid and the contributions to Sri Lankan independence. Islamic communities in Sri Lanka have made huge gastronomic, linguistic, cultural, artistic, and scientific contributions to Sri Lanka, from the national holidays of Ramadan and Eid to Bombay Muttai, from place names to Muscat, from fez hats to sarongs and rabana, as well as kite flying, are an Islamic community's contribution to Sri Lankan history. For more information about the history of Islam in Sri Lanka, please consult the wonderful YouTube channel by Amina Muhsin, as well as work by the great Karim Zamir. Thank you very much for watching this video.